So I'm currently on a mission to master portrait drawings. I've been drawing for as long as I can remember, ever since I was a little kid, but there's always been one subject matter that I've always struggled with: portraits. I've made some cool artwork on this channel and I'm confident that I can draw just about anything except for portraits. Getting the theme here? It's for that reason that I don't really post any portrait drawings on this channel. The first one that I ever attempted, actually, my first ever portrait, I recorded about a year and a half ago on this channel, and it was something else. I made a couple since then, but the last portrait that I did was about a year and a half ago, so I put it off for the reason that I didn't want to practice it. I just didn't want to deal with it until now. I feel like I made some good strides with this drawing and there was definitely some improvement, but I'll let you be the judge of that. So I'm actually watching this time lapse back with you guys so that I can talk you through what I was thinking for this drawing. As we get into it, I worked on this drawing from left to right, so I think if you look at it that way, you can see some improvements, especially as you compare the left side of the hair to the right side of the hair. I think there's a good difference there. Please make it a break, come on. The two biggest things that I focus on were layering and burnishing. So add as many layers of color as possible before you do the burnishing. Hold off on the burnishing. If you take a look at past portraits that I've done, I think especially the Harry Potter one, I didn't add that many layers of color and skip straight to burnishing. And I think that's why it looks a little bit plasticky, so I made sure to not do that for this drawing. And I think the results came out pretty good. So the first part of this drawing was the left side of the hair. Now compared to the right side of the hair later on, this left side is kind of lacking, and I think I know why. So for this side, what I tried to do was to draw as many individual strands of hair as possible. And I think that's why it looks a little too separated and not uniform, if that makes sense. I did do a lot of layers though, and I did hold up on the burnishing, but when I did the burnishing, I used too light of colors, white and like PC914, and looking back on it now, I should have used a different color because now this left side of the hair looks a little bleached out, a little less saturated compared to the right side of the hair. Up next were the eyes, and I've always been scared of drawing eyes because they're so tough. One thing that I tried to do different for these eyes was to not just use black, white, and gray. I think I added some blue, green, and pink in there. Layering the color for the eyes was still tricky though. I don't think I really managed to get the roundness to it. It still looks a little too flat, but I'm gonna have to just keep practicing that. The skin is actually one of my favorite parts of this drawing. In our previous ones, again, my mistake was not layering enough. One thing I will say, however, is that the original reference was really light, so the skin was really light and I didn't have the exact colors to match up to that. So my drawing ended up on the yellow and pink side, which wasn't ideal, but it's what I had to work with. I was excited to finally start adding shadows on the right side of the face. As I was working on it, I felt like it was too light. It was about time to bring in some darks to balance it out. I keep saying this a lot, but noses have always been difficult for me to draw. I feel like I got the midsection of the nose pretty well, like up to here. However, the outer sides of the nose, like this part, could have used some improvement. The nose area is actually the part of the drawing that has the least burnishing. It might not have any burnishing at all actually, because I wanted to keep as much of the detail as possible. And I'll be honest, I knew going into the coloring that my sketch was not the best it could be, but I just wanted to get it done with and get onto the coloring, which is what I actually like. And looking back on it now, the most glaring issue with this portrait are the eyes. And while I was working on the sketch, I actually thought they were too small. Right side of the face was a little tough because in my reference picture, this side was a lot lighter, so there wasn't that many colors to begin with. And I think for that reason, this side of the face is a little less interesting and the transitions were a little harder to nail because there weren't a lot of darks to work with. Now the right side of the hair is what I really want to talk about. For this one, instead of starting off with individual strands, I worked on it in sections. Basically, I identified where the lightest parts were, the medium highlights were in, and where the darkest parts were, and I sectioned them off. So in other words, first I established a layer of seemingly one uniform color, even though there was a bunch of different ones layered on top. And then afterwards, I did some burnishing light though, because I had to go over it with individual strands at that point, and then that would give it the detail and make it look like realistic hair. And I think it came out really good. That being said, this drawing is almost coming to an end, so I'll let you watch and I'll talk to you at the end. That's a wrap for this drawing. So this is the fourth portrait that I've done on my channel, and I think if you line them up side by side, they all had some good aspects. Well, maybe not the first one. Maybe that one didn't have any good things about it. But with each drawing, I'm continuing to learn and hone my techniques for these portrait drawings, and I think at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. I'm pretty happy with the way this drawing came out, but I know I can do a lot better, and that's the goal of this series, is to keep practicing and then master portrait drawings. So that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you for watching. Peace.